DocTalk is brought to you by Multimin USA, manufacturers of Multimin 90, Sure Trace Mineral Supplementation by Timed Injection.
Hi there, folks. Welcome to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson here, and we're glad you joined us. We're going to have a great show. We're going to talk about lameness in cattle, and we're going to talk about a new locomotion scoring system with Dr. Shane Terrell. Dr. Terrell's a veterinarian from Nebraska. It's bound to be a great show, and we're really glad that you joined us.
We were having some conception problems with the cattle, so our local vet came and we took some blood samples and found that some of the donor and recipient females were significantly low in terms of selenium and copper. With the use of Multimin, we were able to increase those levels back to a normal level. We've seen a significant increase in our pregnancy rates on our recipient cattle.
Closed caption brought to you by AgriLabs, the perfect pairing of performance and value. This segment is brought to you by Rotomix, manufactured in the USA and designed for feeding performance in the feedlots, beef production, dairy, and cow-calf operations.
Welcome to the show.
I appreciate asking. I'm glad to be here.
Well, this is Dr. Shane Terrell, and he's a veterinarian, lives in Gothenburg, Nebraska.
Yes, sir.
And Shane, your background started out in western Nebraska. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I guess I came originally from western Nebraska, grew up on a cow-calf feedlot farming operation, came to Kansas State University for vet school, and started in Kansas in practice. Have moved to Nebraska, currently spending some time consulting feed yards and also working on a PhD through Kansas State University.
Well, we're tickled to death to have you here on the show, and we're going to talk about some of the research that you've been doing. We'll talk about some of the things that you've developed in combination with not only the Beef Cattle Institute at Kansas State and with PAC, the veterinary group that you are a member of, but also with Zimpro Corporation, and it's exciting, to think about, because we focus so much on BRD and we focus so much on acidosis and lameness is one of those things that's kind of slid under the radar.
Absolutely. Over the year and historically in the feedlot industry, it's very easy to put our emphasis in respiratory disease. It's an obvious economic issue. It's an obvious health issue. Lameness isn't always easy to deal with, so it's often overlooked, and it's not as big of economic problem as respiratory disease. But as we've approached it and as we started looking at it, we realized that there's a huge opportunity there, a huge opportunity preventing death loss, railer, salvage slaughter animals, and we really putting a little bit of emphasis on it, we really can target and make large steps in improving those situations.
Yeah, and I remember my time as a veterinarian, and it was one of those things that we knew we needed to do more about it. We didn't know exactly how big of an impact it was making on our operation or when to intervene on those cattle. Some of them seemed to get better, some of them didn't. And what are some of the things that you're seeing?
So that's absolutely right. As we look at lameness in the feedlot, there's several different categories and several different causes of those lamenesses. But as we go through, because there's different causes, we have to focus on different points in intervening and preventing those. We have over the years looked at preventing and tried to do some things to prevent those lamenesses, those processing type injuries. Animal handling is a big part, and just processing facilities, maintenance, and those kind of things are simple things that we've looked at. But as we move along, intervention and timely intervention is a big part of it.
I have no doubt that it is. Folks, when we come back from the break, we're going to continue our discussion with Dr. Shane Terrell, and we're going to talk about lameness, and we're going to talk about locomotion scoring and how to kind of grade those cattle. You're watching Doc Talk. We're glad that you joined us. We'll see you here in a minute.
This segment was brought to you by Brute Cattle Equipment, makers of the Brute Stealth Hydraulic Chute. If the chute fits, swear by it. Visit our website for more information. And by Lalaman Animal Nutrition, dedicated to the development and production of natural and differential solutions for animal nutrition.
Hey, Dr. Dan from DocTalk here. Be sure to join me next week as my guest will be Dr. Locke Carricker, who's the director of the Swine Medicine Education Center at Iowa State University's College of Veterinary Medicine. We'll talk about how they're taking the students to the field and doing an immersion where students learn production medicine from all different angles. Be sure to join me here every Monday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on RFD TV, and I'll see you down the road.
Got cattle? Rotomix manufactures a complete line of energy-efficient rotary and vertical feed mixers for feedlots, beef production, dairy, and cow-calf operations. Our mixers are available with the patented Generation 2 staggered rotor, the industry standard for feeding wet rations that include wet distiller's grain. Made in the USA, Rotomix mixers are designed for feeding performance that American cattlemen and dairy producers have come to expect. Rotomix, proud to offer a better mix in less time using less fuel.
Working your cattle just got easier. Introducing the new VetGun delivery system, a new way to apply topical insecticides to your cattle. The VetGun lets you remotely treat cattle with effective parasite control, so you can do it from an ATV, on horseback, or just walking among the herd. It's that simple. The proven topical insecticide AML VetCap is used with the VetGun. It works fast to control horn flies and lice while minimizing stress on your cattle. Fast, easy, effective. VetGun. Check with your animal health supplier for availability.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by Norbrook Laboratories, manufacturers of Normoss in LA, Normectin Plus, 1%, and Poron, the practical choice for your herd. Hi there, folks. Welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Shane Terrell. And we're at the College of Veterinary Medicine at Kansas State University. And Dr. Terrell is a veterinarian, feedlot veterinary consultant, soon to be a veterinarian and PhD, and does a lot of time in research in lameness issues and different issues within the cattle feeding facilities. Shane, when you started out and we started out looking at this locomotion scoring system, you know, the first question is why do we need something like this?
Well, you know, as we've gone through and we look at the dairy industry as an example, they've utilized locomotion scoring in the last 10 to 15 years to get an idea of what the true prevalence of lameness is in their, I guess, in their facilities. Again, we kind of underestimate the impact of lameness within ours, and so as we developed this to try and learn true incidence in some of our lameness or our research that we're working with for the PhD. And so as we went through that, we developed the locomotion scoring to rate the severity as we get these lameness prevalence data collected. But what we found is utilizing the locomotion scoring, we can use that to identify animals earlier, which is probably the biggest difference we can make. A lot of these diseases are highly treatable if we intervene at the right time. And so by utilizing this locomotion scoring system, we've been able to intervene in a more appropriate timing. We aren't allowing those animals to fall behind the pen. We don't have to necessarily see swelling. If they exhibit discomfort to a degree to show us these locomotion scores, then we know that we can go ahead and intervene at that time, and we don't need to wait and see if they resolve.
So it kind of standardizes and gives us similar talking points. If somebody's saying, absolutely, I'm seeing a 1 or a 2, or I'm seeing a lot of severe lamenesses, it gives you the kind of the lingo now that everybody knows what you're seeing.
Absolutely. And then, you know, as you talk with with feed yard managers or the cattle health personnel, your eyes can't always be there. But so if you use a standardized system, we can communicate without. They can be the eyes.
Yeah.
We don't have to be there to necessarily see, and it helps communication of the problem within these cattle organizations or feedlots.
Yeah. Well, and then we're seeing issues with different lamenesses at packers and absolutely, at feedlots and at cow-calf operations, and I think it's also going to allow people from different segments to have a similar language.
Absolutely.
Whether you're seeing lameness at lairage at the packing plant, or if you're seeing it at load out on the feedlot.
And even as we pull back into the cow-calf segment of it, but just if we look at the feeding segment, we have sale barns that lameness is a concern coming out of the sale barns. We have our, at the feedlot and just like you said, at the packer. And so we can kind of bridge that gap and hopefully communicate some of these problems between different sectors of the industry.
Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, let's jump right into some of that locomotion, see some of those videos that you have, and share it with the people out there watching.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching Doc Talk. We're going to take a break, and we'll see you after a bit.
This Meet the Veterinarian is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals. Dr. Joe Hillhouse, owner of Carson County Vet Clinic in Panhandle, Texas, also serves as the District 8 Director of the American Association of Bovine Practitioners, is a charter organization representative of the Boy Scouts of America, and a member of the Panhandle Lions Club. When Dr. Hillhouse finally carves out some time, you'll find him enjoying the outdoors with a fishing pole in hand.
As dependable as the sunrise, in dairy parlors, open pastures, on ranches and feed yards across America. A place where reputation is more than a name, where the science of healthier animals is a way of life. It's the responsibility that drives who we are and what we do. Every decision, every day. It's your livelihood and our responsibility.
The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine is a leader in food animal research and education. Our researchers are constantly expanding the knowledge of animal health and food safety. Through the Veterinary Health Center and the Kansas State Veterinary Diagnostic Lab, we provide practical services for animal producers. Home of the Beef Cattle Institute, the college is committed to animal welfare training and research. The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine, knowledge and service for the future of animal production.
This hog is head over hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Beef producers asked for it, and Norbrook delivers. Introducing new Enroflox 100, the newest addition to your arsenal for treating bovine respiratory disease. Enroflox 100 is an FDA-approved, ready-to-use injectable antimicrobial solution to treat BRD associated with Mannheimia hemolytica, Pasteurella multocida, and Histophilus somni in beef and non-lactating dairy cattle. Administered SQ as a multiple-day therapy. Consult with your veterinarian today about Enroflox 100, the new choice. TrueTest Group, weighing systems, electronic identification EID, electric fencing, and dairy automation systems help farmers and ranchers around the world manage the performance of their livestock for ultimate profitability.
Folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Shane Terrell, and we're talking about the locomotion scoring system that Dr. Terrell has developed here at Kansas State University. And Shane, you've got your computer up here.
So want to look at some videos?
Absolutely.
Right.
So let's take a look at some of the video here and take a look at what some of the different scoring systems are with the cattle. All right, Shane, well, let's get started here. What are we looking at here first? So
when we take a look, we're going to look at a 0. So this is a normal animal. Most of us intuitively know what a normal animal walks like. But as we look at this video, these animals, the things we're going to focus on is stride length, the movement of the head, and the back. So as we watch this Charolais calf come across the screen, the head, there's going to be some slight side-to-side movement of the head, but we don't see a significant head bob. That head isn't going to drop out or come up 6 to 12 inches. If we look at stride length, we're going to look for first the stride length and then the symmetry of stride length. So the hind foot nearly replaces the front foot track in a normal animal. Once they become lame, we'll see a shortening of stride, so that hind foot will fall further behind, in 8 to 12 to even further behind that front foot track. And then the last thing is we're going to look at the symmetry of stride length, so the difference between the left side versus the right side as we look at that.
Cool. So head bob, stride length, and then stride symmetry.
Exactly.
All right, well, let's take a look at one that would be somewhat lame here. A 1 would be your next score, right, after a 0. Shane, go ahead and set this up. What are we going to be looking at for a locomotion scoring 1?
So again, for locomotion scoring 1, the threshold to become a 1 is a shortened stride length or asymmetry to that stride. We will not see a head bob yet, and we will not be able to identify a specific limb affected. So intuitively, we're going to see a change in gait, a change in movement. But if we break it down, we'll see a shortened stride length. And again, we may see some side-to-side head movement, but we aren't going to see that head bob.
All right, well, let's see this calf.
So as this calf walks, we can, we can kind of identify a slight change in gait. If we watch the calf, we can't necessarily identify what limb's affected. I guess if we look at it quickly, and if you look, the symmetry of stride length, that left side stride is a little bit shortened compared to the right side stride length.
Very cool. So, Shane, what's going to be the difference between a locomotion 2 and a 1?
So the breaking point for it to become a 2, we will see either a head bob or obvious limb that's affected, or obvious limp in one limb. So if we look at this calf here as it comes across the screen, we see a significant head bob. That head falls out 6 to 12 inches, and it can also come up depending on the location of the lameness. And again, we're going to identify what limb's affected. It's shifting its weight enough so for us to identify affected limb.
And really getting from those 1s to those 2s is something that we're probably needing to work on.
Exactly.
All right, well, we're going to take a break. When we come back from the break, we're going to wrap up with a locomotion scoring 3 and more with Dr. Terrell.
We do use multi-min in our cow herd, and we're finding that there is a benefit. Seems like those cows breed back better. And we also found that by giving our bulls a shot of multi-min just before we turn them out, we really get a kick out of that. I've definitely recommended multi-min to several people, and it's a good product.
Hi, I'm Kevin Ochsner, host of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman and Colorado Rancher. Join me each week as the National Cattlemen's Beef Association brings you the latest updates in industry information and market news. Plus, each week we provide important educational information and features on cattlemen from across the country just like you. And we can't forget our favorite cowboy poet, Baxter Black. Join me for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, debuting Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern, right here on RFD TV.
Cow-calf, stocker, and feedlot producers know that effective parasite control improves overall herd performance and profitability. Norbrook offers a comprehensive, economical line of pour-on and injectable parasiticides for every livestock operation. Consult with your local animal health supplier to set up a program that protects your investment and brings larger cattle checks this fall. See for yourself why the Noromectin line from Norbrook is the practical choice for your herd.
Hey, Dr. Dan from DocTalk. Be sure to join me next week as we're going to visit the Swine Medicine Education Center at Iowa State University. Be sure to join me here every Monday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on RFD TV, and I'll see you down the road.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hi there, folks. Welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Shane Terrell. Dr. Terrell is a veterinarian and feedlot consultant working on a PhD here at Kansas State University and has developed a locomotion scoring system between the Beef Cattle Institute and Zenpro Corporation, and really a timely discussion with the things that we have going on with lameness within the beef cattle industry. In the interest of scoring, I think it's really important that we all get on the same page, use the same language, and we've gone through a normal, the 1 and the 2, and as Dr. Terrell explained, the things that we're looking for, head bob, stride length, and symmetry of that stride, left and right side. So now we're going to show, we've gone through a 0, 1, and 2, And now kind of set up and tell me what a locomotion 3 is, score. This is the most severe, right?
Exactly, our most severe score. And these are animals, they're going to exhibit those same benchmarks as the two. There's going to be a head bob. There's going to be an obviously affected limb. These animals are going to be reluctant to move, is how they kind of become to fall into 3. If we don't we don't pressure those animals to move, they're not very willing to move on their own. When they're standing, they'll take some weight off that limb and protect that limb when they aren't moving. But again, they're going to be fairly reluctant to move and more severe.
All right. Well, let's take a look at this calf.
So again, on this video, you can see we're having to continuously put pressure on it to get this animal to move. We can identify the lameness. It's got a pretty significant front limb lameness. That head's coming up. Again, that's why we call it a bob, and not necessarily just a head drop, depending on where that lameness is. But there's significant head movement. It's not where we're exceedingly willing to move, and these are the animals that we're hoping to prevent to fall into this category.
So when we're talking about this, first of all, great videos. Kind of walk me through again the differences between a 0, 1, 2, and 3 on the locomotion scoring system.
So when we look at a 0, they're going to be freely moving. We're going to have a symmetric stride length. We're going to have a full stride length, no head movement. As we move into those category 1s, they're going to have asymmetry of stride length. There's going to be a shortened stride length. They won't have the head bob present, and we can't identify what limb's affected. Again, that's how we identify those 2s. They have either or a head bob present or an obvious limb affected. And those locomotion score 3s are the animals that are reluctant to move. They'll also have the head bob present, also have that shortened stride length.
So normal, shortened stride will take us to the 1.
Yep.
The head bob takes us to the 2, and then obvious which limb it is, it takes us to the 3. Thanks for watching today. Folks, if you want to know more about what we do at the veterinary school, you can find us on the web at www.vet.ksu.edu. Remember to always work with the local veterinarian. We appreciate you watching the show today. You've been watching Doc Talk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed caption brought to you by AgriLabs, the perfect pairing of performance and value.
For more information about this program or previous programs, go to DocTalkTV.com. Doc Talk was brought to you by Multimin USA, manufacturers of Multimin 90, sure trace mineral supplementation by timed injection.
The Kansas State University cow-calf herd has to be run as a business. We have to have positive cash flow in order to exist. So treatment costs are important to us. Multimin 90 was applied to the cows 107 days before the first predicted calving date, and then again approximately 30 days before the anticipated start of the breeding season. In our study, treatment costs with Multimin 90 costs an additional $6.40 per cow. That included both injections. Now, a question a producer might ask is how much extra performance on a cow or a calf do I need to capture to pay for that $6.40? Well, historically, the value of gain in a calf has been worth right around 65 cents a pound. If a calf is born approximately 5 days earlier, it will be 10 pounds heavier at weaning time. Now, in our study, with the shift in calving distribution that we saw farther forward in the season, in other words, we had a greater proportion of calves born early in the season in treated females as opposed to untreated females, we would have more than captured the value of the product that we applied. In our study, 77% of the treated females gave birth in the first 20 days of the calving season. Untreated females, only 64% of the animals gave birth in the first 20 days of the season. In other words, we had 13% more calves born early in the season. The opportunity for them to be heavier at weaning was greater among the treated females simply because those calves were older. Their mothers conceived earlier, they gave birth earlier. For every day that a calf spends suckling its mother, it's going to gain about 2.2 pounds. and causing those calves to be born earlier in the year, they would have had greater opportunity to accrue body weight prior to weaning time.